Thousands of humans go missing every day. Unfortunately, the explanation is usually kidnappings, abductions, or murder. In other instances, a person can run away to escape something or forge a new identity. A missing person's case that can't be explained is considered a cold case. Of these cold cases, the vast majority have rational explanations, but investigators simply do not have the physical evidence they need to put the puzzle together. It's always frustrating when a person mysteriously disappears and no one ever finds out what happened to them. It's even more frustrating when the investigation of these disappearances wind up uncovering clues that only raise more questions than they answer. In this list we count down 5 mysterious human disappearances. On the morning of January 25, 2006, the husband of 35-year-old Teresa Butler returned to his home in Missouri after working the night shift, and discovered that his wife was missing and their 2 young sons were home alone. Her Jeep was still at the house and there was no sign of struggle or forced entry, but her kids could not shed any light on what happened to her. Teresa's purse and phone were missing, as were a lot of other valuable items from the house, such as a PlayStation, video camera and car stereo. However, her wedding rings and jacket were left behind. Things got even more bizarre when authorities discovered that 2 calls had been made from Teresa's phone shortly after she disappeared to numbers at 2 different towns in Missouri. The person at the first number never answered the phone, while the second did answer and claimed they heard nothing on the line. Neither of these people had heard of Teresa Butler and don't have any information about her disappearance. Many years later, there is still no answers in this baffling case and no trace of Teresa has ever been found. In March of 2000, 23-year-old college student Leah Roberts left on a road trip from her home in North Carolina. She took most of her belongings and her cat with her, but did not tell anyone where she was going. On March the 18th, her Jeep was discovered abandoned on a logging road in Whatcom County, Washington. The vehicle had been crashed over an embankment, and while it's likely the driver would have been injured in an accident like that, there was no sign of any blood. All of Leah's belongings, including a pair of pants containing $2,500, were scattered throughout the scene. There was no trace of Leah or her cat. Investigators thought that she may have been robbed, but due to the fact that money and jewelry was found on the scene, this seems unlikely. To make things even stranger, blankets had been placed over the vehicle's windows, indicating that someone had used it as a shelter. 1 week later, police received a call from a man claiming he saw a woman matching Leah's description at a gas station many miles away from the crash scene. The caller said she looked disorientated, but he hung up before giving any more details. This has been the only known sighting of Leah Roberts since her disappearance. On November 21, 1987, Karina Lynn Sagers-Malinowski, a 26-year-old woman from Mount Holly, South Carolina, mysteriously disappeared when she did not show up for work and her car was found parked in front of Mount Holly Plantation. But that's not even the most bizarre aspect of the story. On October 4, 1988, Karina's 8-year-old daughter was on her way to school and went to the bus stop in front of Mount Holly Plantation, and she mysteriously vanished as well. To make things even stranger, a note was found at the bus stop which read, "Dad, Mama come back, give the boys a hug." While it looked like it may have been written under force, handwriting experts determined that Annette likely wrote the note. It's been speculated that Annette's mother may have returned to reclaim her daughter so they could disappear together, but she also left 2 sons behind and no one in their family has heard from either of them in over 25 years. In 2000, an anonymous caller claimed that Annette's body was buried in Sumter County, but that lead never panned out. Overall, this is a truly baffling mystery with both cases remaining unsolved. In 1980, 20-year-old Cindy Anderson was plagued by several bizarre and frightening dreams in which she was abducted and murdered by a stranger. On October 4, 1981, she arrived at the legal office where she worked when she mysteriously vanished, presumed to be abducted despite having all of the doors to the office locked, and an alarm to alert the store next door. She was discovered missing after 2 of her co-workers arrived to find the office empty. One of her co-workers was surprised to find that the book she was reading was open to the only violent part of the book, and found other evidence that suggested that she met with foul play. Her family found no reason for her to disappear, especially because she was raised in a strict religious environment. Police found the only items missing were her car keys and purse, and that there was no evidence of forced entry. Foul play is suspected in her disappearance, and she has never been found. A client of Cindy's claimed that the day before she vanished, she received a strange call from an unidentified person and that she was apparently scared by the caller. The lead police had been told about an unidentified man writing "I love you Cindy" on a wall near her office. Police were uncertain if the message had anything to do with her disappearance. A month after she vanished, police received an anonymous tip that claimed that she was being held against her will. After she vanished, 9 people were charged with drug trafficking, and many suspected that she knew one of them and was killed because she knew too much about the drugs. However, none of these theories have been confirmed. Asha Degree is an African-American female from Shelby, North Carolina, United States. In the early morning hours of February 14, 2000, for reasons unknown, she packed her bag, left her family home north of the city, and began walking along nearby North Carolina Highway 18 despite heavy rain and wind. Several passing motorists saw her. When one turned around at a point 1.3 miles from her home and began to approach her, she left the roadside and ran into a wooded area. In the morning, her parents discovered her absence. No one has seen her since. An intensive search that began that day led to the location of some of her personal effects near where she was last seen. A year and a half later, her book bag, still packed, was unearthed from a construction site along Highway 18 south of Shelby. At the point where she ran into the woods, a billboard now stands appealing for help finding her. Her family now hosts an annual walk from their home to the billboard to draw attention to the case. At 6:40 AM, the first police officers had arrived on the scene. Police dogs called to the scene could not pick up Asha's scent. Asha's mother went through the neighbourhood calling Asha's name, which she said had awakened everyone by 7 AM. Friends, family and neighbours cancelled their plans for the day to assist police in searching the vicinity, while the pastor of their church, along with other area clergymen, came to the Degrees' home to support them. By day's end, all that had been found was a mitten, which Asha's mother said did not belong to her daughter, as she found that no winter clothing had been taken from the house. Local news coverage resulted in the 3 drivers that had seen Asha walking along the road early in the morning, including the one whose attempt to approach her apparently prompted Asha to flee into the woods. On February the 17th, 2 days after the search began, candy wrappers were found in a shed at a nearby business along the highway, near where Asha had been seen running into the woods. Along with them were a pencil, marker and Mickey Mouse shaped hairbow that were identified as belonging to her. It would be the only trace of her found during the initial search. A week later, after 9,000 man-hours had been invested in a search of the 2 to 3 miles radius of where she'd last been seen, flyers posted all over the area and 300 leads ranging from possible sightings to tips about abandoned houses and wells where Asha might have ended up, the search was called off. While the circumstances of Asha's disappearance at first seemed to suggest that she was running away from home, investigators could not find a clear reason why she would have done so. Many have speculated that she might have been abducted instead. The case has drawn national media attention. In 2015, the FBI joined the state and county authorities in a reopened investigation, offering a reward for information that could help solve the case.